This has been very, very difficult for some of the powering forces behind the recent leg of the stock market rally. What does this mean overall for market sentiment?
I continue to be worried about the tech sector, and of course the tech sector leads the market. And Dom, one of the things that I would be very hesitant to do is to add to the sector when we have fresh news in the way of quarterly earnings reports that are going to be delivered fast and furious beginning in about a week and a half. Why would you, in a total state of chaos that we're in right now, act unless you had supreme confidence in a particular stock or a super long-term horizon when you're about ready to get a fresh set of details?
But what makes you say total state of chaos? I mean, that sounds pretty dramatic. These tech companies and communication services companies have been dealing with arguably chaos for the past few years now in terms of the government, in terms of the economy, in terms of regulation, yet they've shaken it off in large part over the past several months. What is it about now that makes it different?
I'm particularly worried about the geopolitical uncertainty, not so much the fundamental uncertainty. And of course, when it comes to the U.S.-Chinese tariff battle, the technology sector is in bed deep with the supply chain in both of those nations. And also, the underpinning is we do have, from growing at a fairly robust economic rate, not a recessionary rate, but much slower than it had been. And of course, a lot of people don't realize that tech spending, whether it be consumer or enterprise, is very cyclical. And so I would like to see how this plays out. I'd like to see how some of my leadership companies talk about not only the past quarter, the quarter that's coming up, and even if they're so bold to talk about 2020, is for what they're seeing from their business around the world.
We've talked about the FANG stocks a lot over the course of the past several months because they have been leadership. But if you look over the past 12 months, only really Alphabet and Facebook have outperformed the overall market. So are there stocks in particular, not just among FANG, but elsewhere in tech and comm services, that go on your shopping list if we do see a deeper pullback in these names?
And Dom, that's a great way to describe it, a shopping list. Wait and see and try to buy them on bad days as a contrarian investor to squeeze the risk out. I think among the FANGs, even though I own them all, my favorite right here, since it's come back in, is probably Amazon. But some of the stocks that I'm really intrigued with, and I want to see what they say in the next couple of weeks, are some of the semiconductor and semiconductor capital equipment stocks, because they've been beaten up, and they might be, with a valuation pendulum, now grossly oversold, undervalued. And my favorite probably there is Micron, and probably after that, Broadcom. And the nice thing about those companies is if we were Catholics, we would say that they've already been to the confessional. That is, they've already announced their earnings, and so that announcement risk is behind us, which may make them okay to buy because we're not going ahead of a potentially negative blockbuster announcement.